So actually Buddha's teachings, especially on the Diamond Way level, were then brought up the second time 250 years after through the great cultural hero Marpa. And his history is very interesting. He actually started out as a really rough kid in southern Tibet, made trouble for everybody. And as he grew up, he became more and more powerful, and people said, if he's good, if he'll be good, he'll be very good, and if he'll be bad, we move to the other valley. So this Marpa was born at a place where he could actually only do three things. He could become a shepherd, he could become a robber, and he could become a lama. These were the three, let's say, job opportunities. And he was quite an intelligent boy. He decided probably lama was the softest job, the most pleasant. At the same time, however, he also knew that there was no real tradition left in Tibet. Everything was destroyed. So he would have to go over the mountains and down into India and learn there. So first time he went, he sold everything he had. He went over the mountains down. He actually came down together with somebody called Ngo, who had the same idea, also to start Buddhism again in Tibet. And they came down first to Nepal. They stayed there for a few years to learn the languages which were based on Sanskrit. And then Marpa went on from there down into West Bengal, where he met Naropa. And from Naropa he got first refuge and a few teachings, but then Naropa just said, that's fine, you can go. And Marpa returned to Nepal. In the meantime, Ngo had been all kinds of places asking a lot of questions, and he had a lot of books, when Marpa came, and Marpa just had a thin one. So Marpa thought, wow, I haven't learned anything, and he turned around on his heel and went down to Naropa again, or Naropa. So Naropa looked at him and said, well, you got everything you need, you get refuge, this is the time now to relax. But Marpa could not relax, so Naropa said, okay, then you have to get a special teaching from my own friend Kukuripa. He lives 50 days to the left down that road there, and on an island inside a black and poisonous sea. And well, it's very dangerous. He's surrounded by some female dogs, and during the day they bite everybody, and at night they become beautiful women and bring him great pleasure. But in the morning again, they are back to being dogs. So Marpa went, and he managed to get there, and he managed to get through. And actually, when he was there in front of Kukuripa, he behaved like a complete monkey. So Marpa didn't really know what to say, and the dogs were trying to bite him. So one moment he threw everything up in the air and completely forgot about his fixed ideas. And that moment of forgetting, then Kukuripa looked normal, the dogs became ladies, and he got a very nice teaching. He got the teaching of Mahamaya, one of the Mother Tantra teachings. So he went from there and up, and now he was the one who had the main teaching. Now he had more than Ngo. So on the way back over a river, Ngo paid somebody to let Marpa's book disappear in the water. And when Marpa came back and opened his box, there was only stones and wood and stuff like that, but no teaching. So first he thought, wow, I didn't learn anything, I went for so long, I was eaten by so many mosquitoes, right? And now I got nothing out of it. But then he discovered that he had gotten something. He had gotten the transmission. He heard himself teach and say, well, how do I know that? He saw himself blessing people, and there was some energy and so on. And he said, amazing, right? And he understood that a real transmission had happened, even though he didn't have a piece of paper. However, he did need more methods. So a few years after, he went down again, And this time again he met Naropa. Naropa took all the gold he gave and threw it in all directions and behaved like a madman. But anyway, he also touched the earth and everything around became gold, and he gave Marpa the 6 special teachings of the energy yoga, deep breathing and everything else. And Marpa came back, and he passed these on to Milarepa and a few other friends. And then Marpa went down a last time, and this time Naropa was already just an energy field. There was no solid body, but he gave him the last really powerful transmission, and then Marpa went back up again. So here around 900 and, about 950 years ago, the full transmission, had come up around 1050. There was a whole new transmission in Tibet, even though the Terma, or the first Nyingma transmission, was nearly broken, and the Dzogchen was also nearly broken. Then now the Sama, the new way, had come in with the Great Seal teachings and the Mahamudra and so on, and this was not going to be broken until the Chinese came. And actually, if we pull ourselves together, it may not be broken at all, right? Because we will carry it on, and we are carrying it on already. So Marpa's main student became Milarepa. His story is well known. He started by killing 35 people. Then he couldn't eat in the daytime. He couldn't sleep at night, and if Tibetans can't eat and sleep, something is very bad, right? That'd be a big problem. So he went to some teacher in order to learn. He tried a few who couldn't help him, and he got to Marpa. And Marpa let him build houses in the shapes that fit the different Buddha activities, like the different forms of a stupa, the different stages, that a stupa consists of. And they all have to do with different kinds of Buddha activities. And he built them, and he had to pull them down again. He had wounds on his stomach, wounds on his behind, he had a terrible time. And only, when the 35 killed people were out of his system, then Marpa really gave him the teachings, especially of the Great Bliss and Diamond Sao, meaning Dnepropetrovsk teachings he gave. Then he let Milarepa meditate, and during his meditation he saw that his mother was dead, that all kinds of things were destroyed, and he came to Marpa to be able to leave. So when he went into Marpa's room, Marpa was still asleep. Dagmama brought the food, and the sun just came on Marpa's face. So Marpa woke up and said, well, the fact that you saw me asleep means we won't meet again in this life, but the food and the sun means you will carry the transmission perfectly. And then he stayed, he let Marpa stay for a while, gave him all the other initiations, gave him some teachings on what to do, some scrolls to open and so on, when different things happened in his meditation, and then he sent them off. So Milarepa started meditating when he was 44. And after, when he was about 70 or more, when he had meditated for about 30 years, then he was flying from mountain to mountain and doing all kinds of things, and really making a strong impression in southern and central Tibet. At that time then, he started getting teachings, cut that out. At that time then he started getting students, and the most interesting student was surely Rechungpa, who really liked the ladies and liked the good life and had all kinds of great qualities and so on. But at that time, actually, the Kagyu teachings had become so wide that one also needed a centralized way to keep it. And that's why for the first time we had a monk in our lineage, that was Gampopa, and that Gampopa actually became the sun-like student, while Rechungpa became the moon-like student. And actually, if we look at the names of the Kagyu that's being used, then we see that the monastic Kagyu, the monks and the nuns, they always call themselves Kagyu because they came from Gampopa. He was the first monk, and he carried the monk tradition and so on into our lineage, while the lay and the yogic Kagyus, we often call ourselves Marpa Kagyu, because our style came from Marpa. You know, he had wives, he had children, he arranged things, and he used everything in life to grow and develop. So people today talk about the Kagyu, Gampopa Kagyu for the monks and nuns, and the Marpa Kagyu for the lay and the yogis, because these are the examples that we use. Well, Gampopa was the first monk that we had, and at a certain time when he had organized many monasteries, then, and Milarepa was already dead, then a man came, 3 wild men came from East Tibet, from Kham. One of them was special, white hair, a powerful jaw, everything like that. And they came to the monastery, and at night they had a big party. So in the morning the monks found out and were really shocked and threw them away, threw them out, sent them out of the monastery. But while they walked down the road, then Gampopa in meditation, he saw that all the birds, you know, of the whole valley were flying away from the monastery and following somebody. So he went down, he stopped the men, and he said, "Hey, listen, you know, this is funny, come back, we've got to talk." Then he meditated on, you know, and he gave them different teachings, and the one called Dusum, the strongest big one, the white-haired one with the powerful jaw, he got the teachings of the Great Seal. He went up to a place near the monastery now called Karma Kagyu in northeastern Tibet, actually already inside Amdo, north of Kham, already inside Amdo. And here he stayed for 8 months in deep meditation in a cave that was so small that his knees were sticking into the snow, and he could only lean back, he couldn't lie down. And then he realized the nature of mind, and people saw around him, around his head, they saw this black energy crown that is known, well, that we know today. And they looked at him, and they called, and they could see it was powerful, but they were not so learned. So they called Gampopa, and he could see and he knew the texts. So he said, "Yeah, you are Karmapa." He said, "You are the one who was prophesied in the Mahasamadhi Sutra, in the Mahaparinirvana Sutra, and your power is so great that hearing your name frees beings and benefits them." And Karmapa, who of course couldn't lie at that level, he said, "Yes, that's true, thank you." And he thanked him, and he went away. And this first Karmapa, who was born in 1110, his name actually became Dusum Chempa. Dusum means the 3 times, and Chempa means knower, the one who knows the 3 times. So this Karmapa then had students, and these students met further Karmapas, later Karmapas, and the later Karmapas again had them as students, and especially a strong connection happened between the Shamapas and the Karmapas, who were born very closely together, you know, for many centuries, until the Gelugpa government in Lhasa were unhappy about the strength of the Kagyus and banned the Shamapa incarnations. Shamapas had connections also inside the Gelugpa lineage and so on, and he was simply banned for 200 years. So now again, you know, the Shamapas are there, and the Karmapa Shamapa, you know, close cooperation goes on up until today. And actually this Karma Kagyu lineage is the first incarnate Lama of Tibet. The Kagyus are the first, and the transmission and the blessing in this lineage is especially strong. And well, we can meet Karmapa today. His name is Taya Dorje. He's a young man now, 70 years of age. He's just been in East Asia and Europe. We hope he will come to Ukraine and Russia within a short time, also to North America. And he's just an excellent, continuation of this great blessing lineage that I talked about here. So let's hope that the lineage stays strong, that we are all able to learn, and that we ourselves may be able to carry the blessing of the lineage to all beings. Thank you.